Los Angeles Dodgers delivered one of those nights that keeps fans glued to every pitch. And it all happened in a nail-biting 11-inning showdown against the Arizona Diamondbacks. It was the kind of game that tested nerves, with the Dodgers pulling off a 5-4 win that meant more than just another number in the standings. This victory pushed Los Angeles closer to locking down the division, as their record now sits at 89 wins and 69 losses. With the magic number whittled down to just one, the team is literally a single win, or even a Padres loss, away from clinching the National League West crown. The tension, the excitement, and the sense of inevitability are all mixing together as the postseason approaches. The story of the night wasn't just about the final score. There were so many layers, so many side plots happening within those innings that made this game stand out. For instance, we saw Roki Sasaki back on the mound for the first time since May. And not just back, but stepping into a new chapter of his career by pitching out of the bullpen. The Japanese sensation is only at the very beginning of his journey in Major League Baseball, and fans got a taste of what he can bring when asked to handle high-pressure relief situations. He was electric, striking out 2 batters in a clutch inning that kept the Dodgers alive. You could feel the energy shift when he took control of the mound, as if the whole team fed off his confidence and command. For a rookie who has already dealt with significant time on the injured list, this was a statement moment, showing that he's willing to adapt and contribute in any way possible. Then there's Clayton Kershaw. Seeing him enter in relief is still a rare sight, no matter how many seasons he's been with the Dodgers. This was just his 4th regular season bullpen appearance in his career. Think about that for a second. Kershaw is a 3-time Cy Young winner, a future Hall of Famer, and yet the idea of him jogging in from the bullpen is something fans still find surreal. On a night where the team was fighting tooth and nail, his presence was both symbolic and practical. The Dodgers know exactly what they're getting every time Kershaw touches the baseball, but seeing him in that different role carries an extra edge, as if the team is willing to experiment and push every button available to prepare for the pressure cooker of October. Of course, not all the news coming out of this game was celebratory. Just before first pitch, the Dodgers announced that one of their all-star relievers was placed on the injured list. Losing a bullpen arm of that caliber at this point in the season is never ideal, especially when the playoffs are right around the corner. But baseball is always about the next man up, and in this case, Sasaki was activated to take that roster spot. His strong inning of work after being activated showed why the organization is still optimistic about weathering these setbacks. It was almost poetic, one pitcher heading to the sidelines while another returned to show that he's capable of handling the load. Adding to the mix was Michael Conforto's contribution at the plate, as his solo home run provided another crucial jolt to the offense. In tight games like this, those single swings can be the difference between heartbreak and celebration. Conforto's blast was another reminder of how deep this Dodgers lineup is and how many different players can step up on any given night. That's the kind of balance a contender needs as October looms. But the real cloud hanging over the Dodgers right now is the status of Will Smith. The all-star catcher is dealing with a hairline fracture in his hand, and the latest updates don't exactly inspire confidence. With the postseason less than a week away, time is running out for him to heal, and the team faces the very real possibility of heading into October without one of their most important pieces. Smith's leadership behind the plate, his ability to control the pitching staff, and, of course, his bat in the lineup, all make him irreplaceable. Hearing that his hand is still an issue this late in the year casts a shadow over the otherwise exciting momentum the Dodgers are building. And while all this is happening, an interesting tidbit came out from the other side of the country. Yankees general manager Brian Cashman revealed that at one point he tried to trade for Clayton Kershaw. Just imagine that alternate reality for a moment. Kershaw wearing pinstripes, pitching in the Bronx. It almost feels impossible to picture, because for so long Kershaw and the Dodgers have been synonymous. The thought of him taking the mound anywhere else, especially in a Yankees uniform, is the kind of baseball what if that makes you pause. But in truth, it never happened, and most fans would probably agree that it was for the best. Kershaw is Los Angeles through and through, and seeing him end his career anywhere else would feel wrong. Meanwhile, the Dodgers' approach at the trade deadline is also coming under the microscope. Rather than making a splashy move and trading away young talent, the front office gambled that their injured pitchers would come back in time to strengthen the bullpen. Brock Stewart was one of those pitchers expected to make a difference, but his situation remains murky. Still dealing with soreness in his right shoulder, Stewart hasn't been able to make the impact many were hoping for. He's been on the injured list since the middle of August, and although he has progressed to throwing sessions and even a bullpen session, his status is still day-to-day. Manager Dave Roberts made it clear that while Stewart is doing everything in his power to return, the team has to weigh performance against long-term health. That means fans are left waiting and wondering whether Stewart will be ready to contribute before the season ends. What makes this situation so complicated is that Stewart was supposed to be the big internal boost for the bullpen. The team bypassed external options, betting on their own depth, but that bet is now being tested. Multiple cortisone injections were needed before Stewart started to feel relief. And even though he's shown progress by throwing in front of trainers and team officials, there's no guarantee he'll actually take the mound again in 2025. It's a tough pill to swallow when expectations were set so high for his return. And this is where Sasaki comes back into the story again. With Stewart's status uncertain, the young right-hander has an opening to prove he can take on bigger responsibilities in the bullpen. His willingness to embrace this new role after missing so much time with his own shoulder issues shows maturity beyond his years. Remember, Sasaki was sidelined for over 4 months due to a shoulder impingement, which could have derailed his entire rookie season. Instead, he's found a way to flip that setback into an opportunity, carving out a place for himself in this bullpen just as the Dodgers are gearing up for the postseason. The Dodgers are entering that final stretch of the season where every single pitch feels like it carries twice its weight, and the margin for error is razor thin. The drama surrounding their roster right now adds layers of complexity, because while the win against the Diamondbacks showed grit and resilience, there are underlying concerns that cannot be ignored. The first is obviously the bullpen, which has been a source of both strength and anxiety all year long. When Brock Stewart was expected to be a reinforcement, the plan was for him to step in and stabilize late innings, giving Dave Roberts one more reliable arm to bridge games into the ninth. But the shoulder trouble has lingered far longer than anyone expected, and even though he's been able to throw in front of trainers, you can tell the organization is treading carefully. Pitchers are always tricky when it comes to shoulder injuries because it's not something you can just muscle through. The mechanics, the velocity, the command, everything can be thrown off if the shoulder isn't right. The Dodgers are forced to think ahead, balancing immediate postseason needs with long-term consequences. Stewart is 33 years old, and even though he wants to push himself onto the mound, there's a bigger picture in play. The cortisone injections he's received might relieve pain in the short term, but that doesn't erase the risk of aggravating the injury further. Roberts' day-to-day label reflects that cautious optimism, yet fans know all too well that day-to-day can sometimes stretch into weeks or even months when it comes to pitching arms. So for now, the team watches closely, hoping that even a few appearances before the season ends might signal that Stewart could be ready for October. That uncertainty creates opportunities, though, and Roki Sasaki is the most obvious beneficiary. What's fascinating about his story is how quickly narratives can change in baseball. A few months ago, he was sidelined with his own shoulder problem, spending over 4 months on the injured list and watching from the dugout as the Dodgers' rotation evolved without him. At that point, people were wondering how he would even fit once healthy, since there wasn't an obvious starting role available anymore. But baseball has a way of reshaping opportunities, and now Sasaki's path has shifted into the bullpen, where his electric stuff can make an immediate impact in short bursts. His inning against Arizona was more than just a box score appearance. It was a glimpse of how he might be used in October, attacking hitters with velocity and movement in high-leverage moments. Fans can already sense how valuable he could become in that role, especially when the bullpen picture is as unsettled as it is now. And yet, while Sasaki represents hope, the situation with Will Smith looms larger than any bullpen question. Having your all-star catcher sidelined with a fractured hand at this point in the season is a nightmare scenario. The catcher's position is already the most demanding spot on the field, both physically and mentally, and Smith has been the anchor of this team for years. His chemistry with the pitching staff, his ability to call games, and his offensive production all make him irreplaceable. Losing him, or even having him at less than 100%, changes the entire outlook of the postseason. It's not just about the bat missing from the middle of the order, it's about the trust and rhythm between pitcher and catcher that develops over an entire season. To suddenly take that away days before the playoffs begin is the kind of disruption that can ripple through an entire roster. It's also a cruel reminder of how fragile the game can be. One small fracture, one lingering injury, and the strategy of an entire postseason can be altered. Dodgers fans have every reason to be concerned, because as much as this team has depth, there are certain players you simply cannot replace. Will Smith is one of those players. Every update about his condition will be watched closely, because his availability could very well be the difference between a deep playoff run and an early exit. The contrast between these storylines and the Dodgers' overall position in the standings makes the situation even more dramatic. On one hand, the team is a single win away from clinching the division, a feat that once again highlights their consistency and dominance over the course of a long season. On the other hand, they're limping toward October with question marks surrounding crucial pieces of the roster. This duality is what makes baseball in September so captivating. You could be celebrating a division title one day and worrying about injuries the next. The highs and lows are intertwined, and fans are forced to ride the wave with no guarantee of how it will all end. Adding to the intrigue is the revelation about Brian Cashman's attempt to trade for Clayton Kershaw. Just hearing that makes you pause because the idea of Kershaw in a Yankees uniform feels almost like blasphemy to Dodgers fans. He's the face of the franchise, the pitcher who has carried Los Angeles through countless regular seasons and playoff battles, and imagining him in pinstripes is like imagining Kobe Bryant in a Celtics jersey. It just doesn't sit right. But the fact that such a move was even explored says a lot about how highly Kershaw is valued across the league, even this late in his career. For fans, though, it's also a reminder to savor every appearance he makes in Dodger blue. Whether it's a start or one of those rare bullpen outings, each time he takes the mound is another chapter in a legendary career that belongs to Los Angeles. Kershaw's presence, combined with the emergence of younger arms like Sasaki, underscores the balance the Dodgers are trying to maintain. They're blending the experience of veterans with the raw energy of rookies, hoping that mix can carry them into another deep October run. But as history shows, it's never just about talent. Health, timing, and momentum are just as important, and right now, those factors are very much in flux. The Dodgers can feel the postseason breathing down their necks, but the path forward is filled with questions that only time will answer. But before we move forward, don't forget to join our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest news about the Los Angeles Dodgers. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the news, so drop a comment below. The Los Angeles Dodgers are reportedly shaking the very foundations of Major League Baseball with what could be the most jaw-dropping off-season rumor yet. Sources close to the matter suggest that the Dodgers are in advanced talks to acquire none other than Pete Alonso, the hard-hitting New York Mets slugger, and YORDAN Alvarez, the Houston Astros powerhouse. If this deal comes to fruition, it could instantly create the most fearsome lineup in baseball history. Imagine it, a Dodgers batting order that combines Alonso's sheer home run prowess with Alvarez's uncanny ability to obliterate fastballs and breaking balls alike. Analysts are already speculating about the numbers. We're talking about a lineup that could swing for 50-plus homers each from its newest stars, potentially eclipsing any team's offensive output in decades. The Dodgers, long known for their strategic approach to acquisitions, would now boast a lineup that looks more like a video game cheat code than a realistic MLB roster. Fans across Los Angeles are reportedly buzzing on social media, with speculation spreading like wildfire. Could this be the beginning of a dynasty that no pitcher in baseball could survive? Dodgers insiders remain tight-lipped, but whispers from sources suggest discussions are intensely serious and that negotiations are far along. Meanwhile, rival teams are already bracing for impact, realizing that even their best pitchers might struggle against this unprecedented combination of raw power and timing precision. Of course, nothing is official yet. Contract details, trade packages, and even timing are all wrapped in mystery, but the rumor itself has sparked an electrifying conversation across the MLB world. Imagine opening day with Pete Alonso patrolling first base and Yordan Alvarez cleaning up in the middle of the order. Baseball fans are already dreaming of the fireworks. Whether this will actually happen remains to be seen, but one thing is undeniable. If it does, the Dodgers lineup would instantly become the most feared and talked about force in the league. Stay tuned, because the baseball world could be on the verge of witnessing one of the most audacious roster moves in history. Dodgers fans are crossing their fingers, rivals are sweating bullets, and the rumor mill is working overtime. This might just be the off-season story that defines an era. That's all for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay up to date with exclusive news about the Los Angeles Dodgers, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We always appreciate your comments and feedback. See you in the next video.